Kids are known for their innocence and fragility, making them not being able to do things that only we adults can due to the strength and experience we acquired as we grow up. But what if I told you about a kid that defied an entire kingdom of evil and danger just to save his sister? You wake up at night after having a nightmare. You then look comfort from your sister, but she was not there, which makes you wonder, where did she go? You light a candle and search for clues to find her. In the room you find a painting what seems to be someone on the ground surrounded by creatures. A book telling a story about Lillimore, a girl that leaves her house at night to explore the forest but get lost, trapped, and is never seen again. Also, you find height marks on the wall with both your names on it. You are a little boy called Ole, and your sister, Lillimore. Strangely the same name of the girl from the book tale. Next to the marks, there's a door. By opening, everything's dark. You wouldn't dare go in there. And in the shelf, some soldiers' toys. You looked the entire room and found nothing about your sister. The only clue is the opened window. So no choices are left. You create courage and go outside to look for her. You follow a trail, and through the way, some pinnacles dolls are found in different poses. You then reach a little treehouse. Inside you find a matchbox with a key in it. So you grab it and open the door. You walk for a while and then fall in a hole. Inside of what seems to be a dark cavern, a statue is glowing. Approaching, you can see clearly the statue of a girl holding a shiny stone. You take the stone and feel an urge of courage growing inside of you. You then leave the cavern and start hearing a familiar voice singing from a hill. You follow the voice, and at the top of the hill, you finally meet your lost sister. You two become glad to see each other. You then show the shiny stone to her, and you both start playing with the stone until you almost let it fall from the hill, but your sister handles to grab it. Took by the moment of joy, you hug each other, but then the cliff collapses. You ended up in a forest with giant mushrooms. Your sister tells you to follow her, so you do as her wish. In the midway, a giant apple falls from the tree, and a gnome is in front of you. And let me be clear here, I hate gnomes. You follow the gnome, find a birdhouse with a fairy inside, and reach a little tower with a giant bell. You lift the bell, and a gnome is set free. He was trapped inside of. So he starts following you, and right ahead you reach a little village and have to open a door to proceed. But neither you and your sister have the strength to open it. So your little friend call out for the other gnome on the village, but to get their collaboration, first you have to play hide and seek with them. You fight them all, and they help you open the door. On the other side, a gnome elder meets you and asks you to escort some little creepy flower creatures to a fancy structure. You escort them all and keep following your sister down to a river. There you meet a frog king who you be friends with. After walking for a while, you run into a well, and when you look inside, the world becomes dark and your sister is gone. God damn it, she don't give me a break. You start following a little fairy that leads you to your sister, but suddenly a giant troll kidnaps her, and when he was coming for you, you see no other option than to jump in the river to save yourself. You see yourself in a flower field. Everything looks fine and bright. You then start climbing the same hill where you found your sister. At the top, you see her, but when she looks at you, everything gets dark. Back to reality, the Frog King saved you from drowning. You then wake up and the world around is dark, but you must save your sister. So as you proceed on your way, you come across with a destroyed house and a gnome frightened. He asks you to grab his little puppet, so you grab it and give it to him. In return, he helps you open a big door right ahead. On the other side, you can see the horizon and a little mountain that actually revealed to be a creature. And a group of it is right ahead, but they just stares at you. You then have to face a path full of traps. It is not the family friend type. By passing the traps, you see a gnome trapped and try to help him. But the gnome was also a trap and you fall on the corpse of a deer. Everything is just too much for a kid, but you cannot stop, so you keep going forward, get in a little cave, and by reaching the exit, you find yourself in a butcher's house, in the shadow of a big creature chopping something. By trying to find your way out, the trolls notice your presence and you have to survive its wrath. By throwing some rocks at the troll's eye, you see an opportunity to escape. You then climb a wall and go out through a little hole in the wall, falling on the sewer. As a kid that just a while ago was in the safety of your house, now trying your max just to survive, you just wanted to cry, but you must save your sister. You get in a rail area with a big door ahead. A bunch of gnomes are caged right above, so you set them free and they help you open the door. You all go forward. Holy shit! And finally you reach their house. And when that little moment of joy gets you relieved for a second, yeah, nothing helps you here. Now things are different. You need to hide from the troll's light and go ahead. You face a lake full of traps and manage to escape the troll. But when you was jumping through some tree branches, you fall and accidentally kill a pinecone king. Well, bad luck to him, I guess. You get in a flash lake and something tries to catch you every second you spend on the lake. It's like a Flores lava game. You manage to climb your way to the butcher's place and try to sneak to the other side, but unfortunately, the butcher grabs you and puts you in a cage. He puts you on a high spot, so you start pushing the cage until it falls. Finally, you get out of that place. Right ahead, a group of pinnacles are bullying a rock-like creature. You help the creature, and as scary as it looks, he waves to you and introduces himself as Lemus. Lemus then helps you climb the little cliff, and there you continue your way to your sister. You reach some mushrooms and find a shiny stone. You get distracted by the stone while a troll sneaks at your back and grabs you. When everything seems to be lost at the moment, a miracle. The troll is completely turned into stone, and you somehow was saved by the shining stone. You keep moving forward, meet a hedgehog that helps you cross the lake. You then come across with another stone-like creature that was sleeping. By using the dandelions around, you wake him up and he helps you climb the little cliff. Right ahead, a gnome needs help to cross a pond, so you help him and find his grandpa. Suddenly, you start to hear the sound of a violin and lose control of your own body, making you fall on a dark cave. By using the shiny stone, you try to find your way out. You get in a part of the cave where you find different drawers on the wall and see the exit light. But as soon as you leave the cave, the sound starts playing again, and once more you lose control of your own body, leading you to the lake. And not much further from you, a strange figure is playing violin, so you try to get out of the lake by jumping through the leaves. But the creature appears from the water and starts hunting you. You manage to escape the lake, but not the creature. It starts throwing waves of its violent sound that can easily kill you, so you have to hide yourself from the waves, and finally, you escape the creature by getting in a cave. Right ahead, you find a book. The book tells a story of a man named Nakan who loved to play his violin, but the people around hated and used to bully him for it. One day, taken by the anger, Nakan starts playing a forbidden song. The song made the people die from dancing, but accidentally he killed his love, making him start living in a lake. And since then he lures people with his deadly music. So that was the creature who tried to hunt you. You find your way out of the cave, but nothing appears again, and to escape you jump in a river with strong currents. When you're about to fall in a waterfall, nothing emerges from the water and grabs you, so you two falls together. Nukken is apparently dead, and you are close to the same destiny. You start walking completely injured, and you see yourself in the hill again. But at the top, Bramble starts surrounding you, and no escape seemed possible. But then, a miracle. You see a little girl with blonde hair sitting next to the lake. Even in the dark place, she seems bright somehow. You are too injured and fall on the girl's lap. Tuva is her name. She grabs your stone and gives you energy and courage to proceed. You feel refilled. Now the power of light is on your hands, making you capable of expelling the brambles and evils around you. You continue your search for your sister. In a cliff you see a big mountain and lemurs. Going forward, you have to deal with a big flower that if it spots you, it's gonna use its brambles to kill you. You climb the statue of a king, see lemurs ahead waiting for you, so you escape the big flower's brambles, and once more, lemurs helps you. He will always be there for his friend. You keep going forward. A strange little house with markers and also a stone with jaws gets your attention, but you must proceed. Right ahead you come across to some tall grass. Crossing it, you see a scarecrow. When you approach it, now the next part of the game actually got me so freaking scared. You are in a swamp, and some wooden foundation makes it able to walk in. You find some tools hung on a wooden structure. It gets dark, making the place even scarier. At some point, some shadows creatures start to get to you, but the stone repels them. You finally reach a dock, but the brambles are blocked the front door from the inside, and they can only be damaged if you aim the flowers. You then get in the dock to the ceiling. Inside you release a bolt to the water, expel the brambles on the door, and get in a little house. In the house, a door is locked by fire, and you have to mix some ingredients to extinguish the fire. You take the ingredients, mix them, and unlock the door. In the other room, you find another book, and this book is extremely uncomfortable to read. It tells about a ritual where you sacrifice babies to summon a goddess. On the same table of the book, you find a handle. The handle plugs in a wall that lowers a ladder. You climb the ladder and open a trapdoor. A woman probably preparing the ritual told by the book. You try your best to not get caught. After a while, the woman leaves the room but locks the door. So you make a little support with some book found in the room and climb the window. You couldn't leave the poor baby to be sacrificed, so you hurry up to stop the woman. On the way, you come across to a little graveyard, probably for the babies. You keep moving fast to reach the woman, so you get in a little raft, and to cross the rest of the swamp, you have to pull a rope. But in the midway, there's another of the scarecrow, so you use the stone to get it out of the way. But when the creatures fall in the swamp, it tries to attack you. You fight the creature, defeat it, and finish crossing the swamp. The other side is full of brambles, but by repelling, you manage to reach the woman. She notices you, then enters a cabin and puts a witch mark on the outside, not letting you open the door. So you find another way, which is even more dangerous, full of brambles, and a lake that has something always trying to catch you. And those shadow creature also tries to catch you. When you finally manage to cross the lake, a horrible vision awaits you. As you keep going forward, Your eyes wants to go backwards. It was already too late. You carried the baby in your arms and give him a proper burial. How could a woman, a mother, do that kind of thing with her own child? What you just saw was the disgusting side of humanity. You walk with your hopes down, a little ahead, there's a man, carrying a lantern. You hear Tuva's telling you to follow him, so you do as her wish. That is a Lichtkuba, a creature that can help lost people or make people get lost. He leads you to a library, and you see a book in the middle, so you read it. The book tells a story about a king named Niels and his wife Magdalena that was pregnant. Magdalena gives birth to the child, but unfortunately, she don't resist. So the kid, named Ulrich, grows with only his father's presence. Ulrich became the only happiness in the king's life. But one day, Ulrich gets sick, and the doctor says that nothing could heal his sickness except for a flower used by witches. So the king starts hunting every witch in search of the flower, but he couldn't find it. So you leave the library and follow the Lichtkuban. He leads you to a forest, and your sister is right in front of you. You then start following her until she disappears, and the woman with her heart exposed sees you. And start attacking you. To fight her, you have to destroy these statues found on the trees, and destroying it all weakens her, making it possible to damage her heart. So you knock her, and she used the image of your sister to provoke you. But at the moment, you take all your courage, anger, and create a light sword. When you try to damage directly her heart, she still has the strength to fight back. So once more, you destroy all these statues and finally pierces the creature's heart. It starts agonizing, but you, completely taken by the anger and with no mercy, start stabbing countless times the creature's face. The creature is gone, but you are destroyed inside. Cause there you had your first kill, and even if you was a monster, you are just a kid. You proceed to your journey. Everything around is burnt and corpses are found everywhere. You get in a courthouse, and there a woman is seated on a chair. Her hand is holding a handle. You get her hands off and move the handle. It opens a drawer, and inside you find a key. You take the key and open a door that leads you to a village full of zombies. So by sneaking all the way, you get in a house and find a book. The book tells a story about the people in the village seeing a beautiful woman at full moon nights. She used to lure the men of the village into the forest, but they never came back. So the villagers started punishing all the dark-haired women of the village for witchcraft. But still, men kept disappearing every night. One night, 5 men decided to face the woman in the forest. The woman lured men into deep in the forest. The woman actually revealed to be a shapeshifter. They used the appearance of what men desired the most to lure them. So the creature hung the men on the trees and drained the powers from their hearts. That was a Skuk-Shiroa, the same creature you killed. So you keep crossing the village, sneaking through every zombie, facing some witchcrafts. Then you get in a house and see a dead woman on the ground, and next to her, a book. The woman was in love with a man. They managed to survive the darkest days, but when everything seemed peaceful, a plague came to the village, made the dead alive again, eating peoples. So she got separated from her love and spent her last days surviving in the house. That is a horrible destiny for someone. You keep crossing the village, get in a church, and a big painting on the wall catches your attention. It shows how the kingdom was on the brightest days. So you leave the church and have to run for your life in a graveyard. Finally, by crossing a bridge, the zombies loses you, so you start to climb what seems to be a lighthouse. While getting on the top, something blocks the sun, creating an eclipse. The world becomes dark. At the top, you see a big rock floating. With your shining stone, you make the rock glows, illuminating the world. So you go all the way down to the bottom and hop in a boat. You start going toward the mountain. Something tells you that your sister is in there, but with the close of the rock, suddenly here you have to face that thing. It throws big rats at you, tries to attack you with a rake, and also tries to eat you. You overcome the thing and the darkness, and finally get in the mountain. You walk towards the mountain, the words become gray, and once more you are in the same hill that you first found your sister. At the top, brambles are all over the place, but you have the power to repel them. So when you go across the arch that leads to the cliff, you enter the halls of the mountain. Right ahead, a painting of the king on the wall. So you get in a door that leads you to the library. There, one more book for you to read. The king, with no other option left, go to a witch's house. There he begs for the flower, and the witch giving it warns that it is too dangerous and that he could only use one petal. Ulrich starts recovering from the sickness, but unhappy with all the blood his father spilled. In the next day, Ulrich was found dead. Taken by the sorrow, the king uses the flowers to get Mendel's power and escape from his suffering. The witch sees what the kingdom had become and raises a mountain on the king, using his own brambles to seal him. So the king is still alive in the mountain, being fed by the trolls. So you leave the library and get in the same room that Ulrich was found dead. In a closet, you see Ulrich's clothes and wear them. By solving a puzzle in the room, you open a door and find yourself in a place where something is being forged, and you have to hide from the wave of heat. You finally reach a big door, repel the brambles that were holding it, and finally get to meet the King Nils. So you climb all the way to his table and see that troll who took your sister, with the bag that probably carries her. The troll then opens the bag in the king's mouth and throws your sister inside. The king also eats the troll, then he notices your presence, and now it is only you and the king. And if you wanna save your sister, you have to fight harder than ever. The king starts attacking you in attempts to eat you. So you have to use your stone powers and repels the brambles on the king's back. You repel them all, but the king is not over. So he then grabs his sword and mace and attacks you at full power. But you finally repels all the flowers on his back, and for a moment the king recovered his sanity and saw Ulrich in you. So he takes one final decision and pushes the table that you was, revealing the evil flower which brought all the destruction on the kingdom. The king then stand up, grab his sword, and give a final blow on the flower, finishing all the darkness. You then climb the king's sword, and as a final act, you throw the rock at the king's mouth, falling on the ground together. Your sister opens a way out with a shining sword, but you could not resist such a fall. Then your sister starts begging for your life, but Tuva then gives you one last gift, another chance to live. So your sister carries you on her back and starts running since the place is crumbling. And right at the entrance, Lemus was there one more time to save you. Your sister wake up at night and look comfort from you, but you was not on the room. So she go to the window and you was there, always protecting her.
Because she knew she had her brother.
Well, I'm gonna be honest here. This ending was kinda confusing, and in my point of view, it could mean that either was everything just a Lillemore's nightmare, which it doesn't make that much sense because why would you see the brother's vision if it was Lillemore's nightmares? Or they actually lived everything that we saw with that arch on the cliff being some kind of portal to the world, and at the end they were just heading towards the world again since Lemus and the gnomes became their friends. But why do I think that this could actually be the real thing here? Well, actually by just one detail. At the beginning of the game, when we go look for Lillimore in the room, you find some soldier's doll in a shelf. And judging the fact that the soldiers have guns from World War I and the brothers' clothes, we can tell that the broths are not in the medieval era. And another proof to my theory are the dolls we find through the game, bring them all with us to the real world, as you can see in the shelf. Now, these are just my theories. Feel free to comment what you think. So this was Bramble The Mountain King, a platform game inspired by Little Nightmares, and despite being short, yeah, the game has like 3 hours and this video has more than I thought you had. It had a good storytelling and creepy moments that kind of freaked me out. But I actually think that the game was something more about overcoming your fears to help your lovers than a super complex story at the end. So that was the video. Thank you for watching, and until someday.